In 1995, inspectors in North Carolina pulled back the exterior walls of 32 homes that looked like they were made of stucco. Elegant, smooth, expensive-looking stucco. The kind you see on Mediterranean-style houses in gated communities. 30 of the 32 homes had severe moisture damage hidden behind the walls. Wood framing rotted through. Mold colonies growing in darkness. Structural members dissolving. From the outside, every single one of those homes looked perfect. That was 30 years ago. The product that caused the damage was not banned. It was not recalled. It was barely regulated. And a version of it, along with an entire family of plastic and foam exteriors designed to imitate real materials, is almost certainly on the house you're paying for right now. This is the story of how the American home went from being built with materials that lasted centuries to being wrapped in a costume that rots from the inside out. For most of the history of residential construction in this country, the exterior of a house was the house. Brick was structural. Stone was load-bearing. Stucco was a thick layer of Portland cement applied directly to masonry or heavy lath. These materials did not just look solid, they were solid. A brick home built in 1920 is still standing in 1920 because the walls are 2 layers of brick, sometimes 3, bonded together and resting on the foundation. Water hits the brick, and the brick manages it. It absorbs some, sheds some, dries out naturally. The system breathes. But real brick is heavy. Real stone is heavier. They require skilled masons, strong foundations, and time. And in the economics of modern home building, time is the one thing nobody is willing to spend. So the industry found a workaround. Instead of building with brick, they build with wood and then glue something that looks like brick on the outside. Instead of laying stone, they pour colored concrete into molds and stick it to the sheathing with mortar. Instead of applying real stucco over masonry, they screw sheets of foam insulation to the plywood, cover it with a thin coat of polymer, and call it a day. The house looks the same from the street. The house is not the same. The product that triggered those North Carolina failures is called EIFS, which stands for Exterior Insulation and Finish System. The industry calls it synthetic stucco. What it actually is, at its core, is a layer of rigid foam board glued to the exterior wall, covered with fiberglass mesh, and coated with a polymer finish. It was developed in post-war Germany to repair bomb-damaged buildings and introduced to the American market in the late 1960s. By the 1990s, it was everywhere. And here's the engineering problem that nobody explained to buyers. EIFS does not breathe. Real stucco, applied over masonry, can absorb and release moisture naturally. EIFS creates a sealed envelope around the house. When water gets behind it, and water always gets behind it, through cracks around windows, through failed caulk joints, through any gap where the system meets a different material, that water has no way to escape. It sits against the wood sheathing and the wood framing. It stays there for months, sometimes years. By the time anyone notices a problem, the damage is catastrophic. After those North Carolina inspections made the news, the National Association of Home Builders issued a formal alert about EIFS. The city of Raleigh imposed a moratorium on the product. The Chevy Chase Bank stopped accepting mortgages on homes built with synthetic stucco. The state of Georgia changed its property disclosure requirements to force sellers to reveal whether a house had EIFS. But the product never disappeared. Manufacturers developed a newer version with drainage channels, calling it a water-managed system. The fix addressed part of the problem. But according to inspectors who specialize in these systems, the fix depends entirely on flawless installation. Every drainage channel must be continuous. Every weep hole must be open. Every flashing detail must be correct. And on a real job site, with real schedule pressure and real labor shortages, flawless installation is not what happens. According to one forensic building expert, there is an inverse relationship between energy efficiency and durability. The very properties that make EIFS energy efficient, its ability to block air and moisture movement, create the perfect conditions for trapping water when it inevitably gets in. And EIFS is only one chapter of this story. The same logic that replaced real stucco with foam and polymer also replaced real stone with colored concrete. Manufactured stone veneer is now one of the most popular exterior finishes in new residential construction. It looks like fieldstone or river rock or stacked ledge stone. It is not. It is cement mixed with aggregates and pigment, poured into rubber molds, and stuck to the exterior wall with mortar. Unlike real brick veneer, which building codes require to be installed with a 1-inch air gap between the brick and the sheathing, manufactured stone veneer is typically adhered directly to the wall. There is no gap. There is no airspace. The colored concrete sits right against the house wrap, which sits right against the wood. Water passes through manufactured stone veneer. It is porous. Rain, sprinkler water, snow melt, all of it gets absorbed into the mortar joints and the concrete surface and eventually reaches the wall behind it. For that moisture to escape without causing damage, the installation requires a drainage mat and a weep screed at the base of the wall, a small piece of flashing that allows water to drain out and fresh air to enter. According to one inspector who examines new construction homes every week, he has never seen a home with a weep screed properly installed. The builders are simply not doing it. The moisture builds up behind the stone veneer with nowhere to go, and it rots the base of the structure from the inside. Repair costs for failed manufactured stone veneer run from $80 to $100 per square foot. A 10 by 10 section of wall costs roughly $10,000 to tear out and redo. That is assuming the damage has not spread to the framing, the insulation, or the interior drywall. None of this damage is caused by material failure. According to building envelope specialists, virtually all of these problems stem from human error. The installation instructions exist. They are clear. They are available. But the crews installing this product on production homes are not following them because the schedule does not allow it, and the builder is not checking. And then there is vinyl, the material that covers more American homes than any other exterior product. Vinyl siding costs between $2 and $10 per square foot. It is the cheapest option available. It never needs painting. It does not rot. These are the selling points. But vinyl siding is not weatherproofing. It is a rain screen. It is designed to deflect most water, but it is not sealed. Wind-driven rain pushes water behind vinyl siding regularly. The assumption built into the system is that the house wrap underneath will handle whatever gets through. If the house wrap was installed correctly, with all seams taped, all penetrations flashed, and all window openings integrated into the drainage plane, then yes, it works. But the house wrap is installed by the same crews, under the same time pressure, with the same supervision gaps that affect every other part of the build. Inspectors routinely find tears in the wrap, untaped seams, reverse-lapped sections where water channels inward instead of outward, and windows where the flashing was skipped entirely. And here is the part that ties all of this together. Every one of these exterior products, EIFS, manufactured stone veneer, vinyl siding, even modern brick veneer, when installed incorrectly, shares the same fatal vulnerability. They are all decorative layers applied to wood-framed walls. The structure behind every one of them is dimensional lumber and OSB sheathing. These are materials that begin to deteriorate at sustained moisture levels as low as 20%, and they begin to rot at 30%. The entire system depends on keeping water away from wood, and the entire system is now wrapped in materials that either trap water against wood or allow water to reach wood without anyone knowing until the damage is advanced. A solid brick wall built in 1940 does not have this problem because the brick is the wall. There is no wood behind it to rot. A stone foundation from 1910 does not have this problem because the stone is structural. The water touches stone, not lumber. The modern system reversed this logic entirely. Now the structure is the most vulnerable material in the assembly, the wood, and the exterior is a costume designed to look like something durable while offering none of the actual protection that durable materials provide. The people who understand this system protect themselves by doing something counterintuitive. They stop trusting their eyes. When they walk up to a house and see stone on the facade, they knock on it. Manufactured stone sounds hollow compared to real stone. It also gives slightly under pressure. Real stone does not move. They check the base of any stone or stucco wall for a weep screed. If there is no visible metal flashing at the bottom edge where the cladding meets the foundation, moisture has no exit path, and damage is likely accumulating right now. They look at where different materials meet, where stone meets siding, where stucco meets a window frame. Where any two surfaces join, that transition is where water enters. If the caulk is cracked or the flashing is missing, the wall is taking on water regardless of how good the surface looks. They hire a moisture inspection specialist before they buy, not a general home inspector. A specialist with probe equipment can insert sensors through the exterior and measure the moisture content of the sheathing and framing behind the cladding. The inspection costs between $500 and $1,500 depending on the size of the home. The repairs it prevents can cost $50,000 to $100,000. They ask the builder or seller one question that reveals everything. What is behind the exterior finish? If the answer is foam board, or if they cannot answer at all, the conversation changes. They look at the age of the caulk and sealant around every window and door. EIFS and manufactured stone depend on sealant integrity, the way a boat depends on hull integrity. Once the sealant fails, and sealant always fails, water enters the system. Most sealants last 5 to 10 years before they crack. Most homeowners never think to inspect or replace them. They seriously consider older homes with real masonry. A house with solid brick walls or genuine stone construction costs more per square foot and offers fewer modern amenities. But the walls are managing moisture the way walls managed moisture for 500 years. No drainage mat required. No weep screed to forget. No polymer coating standing between rain and rot. About 300,000 homes in North America have EIFS exteriors. Hundreds of thousands more have manufactured stone veneer installed without proper drainage. Millions have vinyl siding over compromised house wrap. From the street, every one of these homes looks finished, looks expensive, looks permanent. Behind the facade, the wood is wet and the clock is running.